with all of these things, it's not necessarily about the person in particular. This isn't really a big debate about Roy Chubby Brown. It's about what this move by the council represents and what it could mean in the future, not just for Roy Chubby Brown, but also for other comedians, other acts, other performance artists, whoever. I've been following a lot of the discussion around this on social media. It's interesting that Sheffield Labour councillor Terry Fox, who apparently was in some way involved, or at least is tweeting a lot about it, says that, well, there's no place for performances like Roy Chubby Brown's in my Sheffield. I think that's quite a revealing turn of phrase, my Sheffield. A lot of this stuff is very high-handed, and it comes from authority figures who would like everyone else to think in the same way that they do, and who would like everyone to have the same taste that they do. And I think it's a real problem when it comes to performances and creativity, and particularly comedy. You know, if you take comedians like someone like Jerry Sadowitz, for instance, whose show is always about pushing the limits of your tolerance, and he's one of the best comedians in the country. Some comedians do that as part of their act, is that they push the limits of tolerance. They're bound to be offensive to someone, and if they weren't being offensive, they wouldn't be doing their job. So you do have that situation. I suspect a lot of the reason why people are going after Roy Chubby Brown is because his audience are predominantly working class. You know, you don't get councils banning Jimmy Carr's show, for instance. You don't get Frankie Boyle's show cancelled because they have predominantly middle-class audiences, and there's a kind of sense in which, well, those people are going to be okay. They understand that it's just a joke, whereas there's a sense that working-class people are like, you know, it's like feeding a gremlin after midnight. They're just going to become evil, rampaging hell beasts as soon as they hear an off-colour joke, and of course, it's incredibly patronising and snobbish.
Yeah, it absolutely is, 100%. I think you've hit the nail on the head there, really, which is this idea of the fact that the working class man and woman there can't be trusted to hear a bit of a saucy joke, shall we say, and then not go outside and commit a hate crime. I mean, that's absolute nonsense, isn't it, Andrew?
Well, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, there's 2 points there. And the first one is this idea that, you know, we can have a debate back and forth about Roy Chubby Brown's material. I haven't seen his shows, so I don't know. I'm sure it's not my cup of tea from the clips I have seen. It's just not my thing. It's not the point. It's got nothing to do with me or my particular taste in comedy. It's not about that. And you can say, well, some of his... The council's claim is because his material is racist, sexist, homophobic, that kind of thing. Well, if they find it those things, they have the option not to buy a ticket. And then the problem is solved, isn't it? The problem with those accusations as well is they get levelled against all sorts of comedians who are none of those things. I've been accused of being homophobic, for goodness sake, right? Because of some of my material. And if this precedent is set, I don't know how many men I have to sleep with before that accusation. But anyway, you know, when that's set, that precedent, that means someone could say, well, we think that Andrew Doyle is homophobic, so we should ban his show as well. So it's not really just about this. I would say, firstly, like, jokes are not like incantations. They're not like if someone hears an off-color joke, they're just going to suddenly become a fascist or something. This is a completely weird new idea that is very, very popular, but is also just fundamentally unsound. But the other thing is, if you think a comic is going to offend you or upset you, don't buy a ticket. No. And that's it. The problem goes away. You can leave other people to be adults and make their own decisions.
You can indeed, and it amazes me, doesn't it, when you see people, well, you know, I watched the entirety of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, back to back to back, and I hated it from the first minute. Well, who's the loser there, then? Who's the idiot there, you know? It's a strange thing, isn't it? And do you think there is just a culture of offence now, Andrew, and people go, well, actually, OK, I don't enjoy this, so you can't either?
I think it's a culture of entitlement more than anything. I think, there used to be lots of heckles in comedy. I know you've got your panel there who'll be able to tell you this, but the heckles used to be of a different kind. I've noticed this change that, you know, heckles used to be like either a drunk idiot trying to get involved or someone saying something genuinely funny, which doesn't happen often, but or sometimes, you know, someone saying, oh, that's boring, I hate this, whatever. But the new kind of heckle is this pearl clutching thing. You know, people literally standing up and saying, oh, this is appalling, why are you saying this? And it does strike me as entitlement, because if you're in an audience and something that someone says on stage bothers you, and your reaction is to try and stop that person saying it so no one else gets to make their own judgment, it means that you think that your judgment is the thing that matters above all else. You know, there's always the option, as I said, not to buy the ticket, but even to walk out of a show. You know, leave other people, you know, to make their own decisions. It's absent. There's something worse that I don't mind people being offended. I think everyone's got the right to be offended. And I think we wouldn't be human beings if we weren't offended from time to time by certain things. I think being offended on other people's behalfs is just intolerable. You're just basically Mary Whitehouse at that point.
welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.